Congress Member of Parliament Shashi Tharoor may have emerged as one of the most effective spokespeople for India on the global stage when it comes to Operation Sindoor and India's battle against Pakistan backed terrorism. But at home, he's facing the heat. His party says he's crossed a Lakshman Rekha. Why is the Congress scoring this own goal at a time when the public sentiment is overwhelmingly otherwise? I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. On the program today, we'll look at the Shashi Tharoor paradox. He's getting cheers from those who do not usually support his party, even if they don't mind him. Dr. Tharoor has been widely applauded and appreciated for how he has represented India's perspective on a host of global networks when it comes to Operation Sindoor and India's concerns about Pakistan-backed terrorism. But now, with Trump kind of adding his own chaos to the mix and Tharoor slamming that, Shashi Tharoor is being reprimanded by his party leadership for not standing with the party in questioning the government on Trump's claims of a ceasefire. Even though military experts say that the turning point in Operation Sindoor came because India was able to devastate Pakistan's air bases, including, according to some experts, hitting the entrance gates of one of its nuclear storage facilities, Trump has been rabbiting on about his own role. Shashi Tharoor has slammed that. The Congress has asked for a special session of parliament to discuss all of this. But in the meantime, Jairam Ramesh, Congress leader known to be close to Rahul Gandhi, publicly snubbed Shashi Tharoor at a press conference. It should be said that the BJP hasn't been without its own self goals. A BJP minister from Madhya Pradesh found himself at the receiving end of the wrath of both the Madhya Pradesh and the Supreme Court High Court when he made a communal slur about Colonel Sufia Qureshi, one of the public faces of Operation Sindoor. But to discuss what's happening with Tharoor, is the Congress totally out of sync with the public mood? Let me introduce our guests on the program today. I'm joined by Tavleen Singh, columnist and author. Good to see you, Tavleen. Tehseen Poonawala, Congress supporter, joins us. He's had his own share of fierce trolling for his positions on Operation Sindoor. And also joining us is Rahul Eashwar, who calls himself a fan of the Prime Minister and a fan of Shashi Tharoor. So two different parties' leaders appeal to him. A lot to talk about. Shashi Tharoor, as I've been saying, has emerged as a very, very effective voice on the global stage. And when I was on the ground the last fortnight or so, traveling through Jammu and Punjab, which had really been hit or attempted to be hit by Pakistan's attacks, I interviewed him from there. And this is what he said about why he's doing what he's doing. Take a look. How do you see all this attention on Shashi Tharoor speaking for him?
Barkha, I'm an Indian first and foremost, and everything else follows. We all have multiple identities, but above all, these identities are possible and safe and secure because I'm Indian. I mean, that's the sheltering carapace under which I'm also everything else that I might be. And therefore, for me, when it's a question of my country's national security, nothing comes ahead of that. And I'm very, very proud to respond when people ask me to speak. I wasn't asked by the government to do that. I was asked by channels around the world who wanted an Indian voice, and I understood the importance of putting across our point of view in many of these audiences. And I'm very pleased that those people at home, and more important, perhaps those people abroad who've seen it, have got the message.
All right, let's open this up. I'll start with you, Tehseen. You support the Congress party. They're scoring another self-goal. I will play out Jairam Ramesh's clip in just a moment. It was a really, really scathing dismissal of Tharoor. He went on to say, "Jab Tharoor saab bolte hain, to wo apne liye bolte hain, party ke liye nahi bolte." I mean, what's going on here?
Barkha, let me begin by congratulating you as well. And I've seen the trolling you have received. You absolutely mopped the floor with Hina Rabani Khar.
Thank you.
And left all those. And we now know why those Birkins are out of stock, because she spent more time buying those Birkins than actually studying and coming for her intellectual debate. She lacked gravitas. So thank you, Barkha, for representing India well. And the answer to your question starts from what you did, Barkha. When there's a calamity on our nation, we all come together as Indians first, because that is the overarching identity that binds all of us, behind all the sub-identities that we all have. You as a journalist, me as a political analyst, so on and so forth. Now, the fact of the matter is that Dr. Tharoor led India's response fantastically well on the global platform, because that was an area where Pakistan was doing exceedingly well in, with misinformation. Economically, cyber warfare, military warfare, we are 20, 25 years ahead of Pakistan. But misinformation, Pakistan is ahead of India. So Dr. Tharoor represented us with class, with dignity, with with facts, and when he speaks, a lot of the international audiences heard. So I think that is what we should all do as Indians, and it was an opportunity for the opposition to come together and showcase what it is. I have, in fact, publicly put out on a number of tweets of mine that when there is a session to discuss what happened at Pahalgam and Operation Sindoor, the Congress must open with Dr. Tharoor and Manish Tiwari, two very erudite members of parliament from the Lok Sabha, who represent the party in national interest well. They can ask the government questions without being confrontationalist, and we can head towards a solution while the government is forced to answer we the people. And I think that's the right answer for and the right solution. It is ironic that Dr. Tharoor is being attacked and he's told that he's not a voice of the Congress. I did not know, Barkha, that if you win 4 times a Lok Sabha election, Barkha, not a Rajya Sabha election, because some of these
Yeah.
people can't win a classroom monitor election. You're not a Lok Sabha, you're not a Lok Sabha member. I mean, it's fine to think that you have the IQ like Einstein, but at the end of the day, you can't be arrogant. And I think there is the problem, Barkha, if you give me 30 seconds more. The left loonies, and I came up with this word in your show, have absolutely become lunatic. They have no idea.
One of them asked me why I rolled my eyes at Hina Rabani Khar. Not that they were not aghast that she was defending or not taking a position on the Lashkar and the Jaish. They said that I should not have rolled my eyes at her. I mean, that was their criticism, that I rolled my eyes.
That's true, Barkha. That's what I'm saying. These are loonies who have zero idea. A has-been journalist interviewing a former cabinet minister of the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government, their solution was that Supreme Court judges from India should go and mediate and get peace along with Supreme Court judges in Pakistan. I was tempted to write, is he snorting some banned substance that comes from Pakistan into India? I mean, these guys live in their own cabal, in their own land. They probably are on some substance that is banned, and I don't know what are they doing. It is, and they don't realize that the country's opinion is against them. There is a legitimate anger against Turkey. Now, there will be an official position that India will take in a given course of time, considering Turkey is a NATO nation, a NATO member, and India has to articulate its position correctly, because, of course, India and Turkey have historical relations going back centuries. But if the common man feels he should cancel his holiday or her holiday to Turkey, or not take Turkey Airlines or Turkish Airlines, I don't think you can mock people. When you mock people, that's exactly the mistake Hillary Clinton did. You are running down sentiments, and sentiments and chemistry does not work like these. These intellectuals live in their ivory tower. They live in their own cabal. Over wine and cheese and fancy accented English, they discuss poverty and they discuss parallel universe, and they have no clue what real India is. And it is unfortunate that the party that I support sometimes does not realize that these people are not supporters of the party. They are harming the party, because, Barkha, as I said in your podcast, the Congress was the original nationalist party. We cannot afford to lose that position. It is a position that holds true for the Congress, and Dr. Tharoor represented India and the Congress with class and dignity, just like you represented India so well.
Thanks for those kind words, Tehseen. And I was just on a lighter note going to say that what you describe is what Tavleen once caustically called and coined the phrase Lutyens Delhi. But before we come to her, you spoke about how Dr. Tharoor was publicly reprimanded, not even behind closed doors. You can have an argument saying, listen, aren't you going too far? Could you articulate it differently? He was publicly insulted. And I'm going to play out that clip where at a Congress media briefing, a journalist gets up and asks a question about what Shashi Tharoor has been saying, and this is what happens next.
वो उनकी राय है. जब थरूर साहब बोलते हैं वो पार्टी की राय नहीं होती है.
And then look at how he moves the mic. That final imperious gesture is to move the mic out of the way, like that was not a question worth answering. Tavleen, what did you think when you saw that clip?
I have no time for the person who moved the mic. He couldn't win an election in the Gymkhana Club. Okay, forget about anything else.
Yeah.
And but I'm going to say what Tehseen hasn't dared say, because he's a supporter of the Congress Party. Shashi Tharoor has been treated like scum by the imperial family that rules the Congress Party and that once ruled India. When he wanted to contest an election for party president, he had the support. He went to Sonia and asked if he should stand. And so, he did it in good faith. And what do? They produce Mr. Kharge and put their hand over him. Now, I've known the Congress Party and the imperial family much longer than Tehseen has. And let me tell you that they are very threatened by people who will outshine the future prime minister of India, or the man that they think is the future prime minister, and which is why it makes them uncomfortable. The other thing is that they are actually, to this day, we don't know what the Congress Party's foreign policy is. Do they have a shadow cabinet that decides that on Pakistan we will take this position, or on, they had no position. So, what you really have, today I saw a clip of Rahul Gandhi going off somewhere in Bihar and getting stopped by the police, and the same old OBC caste. Is he living in India or in some other little space that we don't know about? Because he has not yet, as far as I know, come out and said openly. He said we support the government, right? But the point is that in a time of war, when Indira Gandhi led us in the Bangladesh war, the whole country came together. Vajpayee praised her. I don't think
Yeah.
he used the word Durga, etc., but he actually stood by her. What the Congress Party's attitude has done is to make divisions between the government and the opposition that should not exist in a time of emergency. And it is for the Congress Party to learn this and to try and improve its ways, because it has failed to sell itself as a credible opposition to the people of India. And it still hasn't woken up to the fact that they've got to start promoting people like Shashi rather than stamp on them publicly and make fools of themselves.
Yeah. You've spoken very strongly, and it's hard to disagree with anything you've said. I'll let the Tehseen respond to the imperial family and when the buck stops with them, because Jairam Ramesh is the front of that articulation, but face of that articulation. Could he dare to say it without a kind of nudging from the top? But Rahul, after hearing this, what are Dr. Tharoor's options? It would have been one thing if he'd been rapped on the knuckles at a heated debate behind closed doors. But Jairam Ramesh's manner was completely like, I'm your boss and I don't care about Shashi Tharoor. Don't ask me about somebody else. It's insulting.
Barkhaji, first of all, like my brother Tehseen, let me appreciate, applaud you for that great articulation of Indian sentiments in the show. I all saw it.
Thank you.
And as a Hindu right-wing activist, I had goosebumps. In spite of all disagreement with you, kudos to you, thanks and gratitude to you. Second,
thank you.
I don't think Shashi Tharoor sir, will definitely feel bad regarding this, but we all know Shashi Tharoor sir, as far as I know, because being a personal friend, I don't think he will be leaving Congress. He's definitely eyeing at a chief minister's post because he wants to play a larger role. So he may be able to stomach it in that sense. But the unfortunate thing is, with BJP, with Modi ji's party, they are having an issue with less intelligent people there. In Congress, the issue with more intelligent people there. We see people like Vijay Shah, who goes on such bad comments about Sophia Qureshi on one side. Absolutely deplorable. Deplorable and terrible comments. It was so heartening to see Madhya Pradesh High Court coming out so strong, and I know the judge went to the extent of saying, "I'll bring the hell down if you are not going to take an immediate action on it." So that's a one side. And on the other side, Congress is having an issue with people like Shashi Tharoor, who they should be using. See, Shashi Tharoor is there in Congress, Vajrayudha or Brahmastra. Everyone else realizes that except Congress party. See, that's the difficult thing. For example, from my state, Kerala, if Shashi Tharoor becomes chief minister, BJP will at least go back 10 years. They will lose all the upper caste Hindu and the Christian votes they have assimilated in the past 10 years. Everyone Everyone else knows this, but Congress is oblivious to all this. I don't know. I think I genuinely feel, without criticism, people like Rahul Gandhi should come forward and applaud him in the better way, so that he can champion India's cause, and even Congress goes to that a big way. I personally once told Shashi Tharoor sir, said, I want you to be the Chief Minister of Kerala because you are a person who can bring back the Gandhian politics. That was once very predominant in Congress. Congress should not stoop down just to get some clap from left liberals who are disconnected with reality. I don't have any issue with left liberal, but they are going too far left liberal. See, people like Shashi Tharoor articulate that voice, centrist, center right, center left, whatever you want to call it. But Congress is losing that space just to appear intellectual, just to appear that we are also some kind of intellectuals who understand something extra.
But what I'm hearing you say is that Dr. Tharoor will have to swallow it for his larger political goals in Kerala. He doesn't have a lot of.
Let me be very honest and blunt. In 1 year, we are having Kerala elections. By 2026, they are having Kerala election for upper caste Hindus. I'm sorry to tag Shashi Tharoor to a particular caste because he's a global citizen. But having said that, there are some political realities. So there are 4 frontrunners, all Hindu forward upper caste men. Right now, a Christian is being appointed as the KPCC or Kerala Congress Pradesh Committee's chief. So the equation is all being set for a Nair chief minister. So Shashi Tharoor will have to swallow this and ignore it, at the best, and create a group or a nationalistic Congress, the old nationalistic guard of Congress here. That's his best bet. I don't think he will ever go to BJP because he's deep down not having any kind of. He cannot swallow the extreme right. It is easy to swallow the Congress itself than to swallow the extreme right. That is Shashi Tharoor's personal vision.
But Tehseen, here's the point, and I do want you to react to what Tehseen said. The repercussions of this public snub to Tharoor is not just on Tharoor. Okay, Shashi got publicly snubbed. It also presents the Congress party itself as being out of sync with the overwhelming emotion of the time, right? So it has consequences more, according to me, for the Congress party than it does for Shashi if he's able to keep his pride aside and, as Rahul said, take a knock on the chin and say, okay, at least to the Kerala elections, I'll just stick around and see what happens. But people looking at this are saying, hey, hang on, what's your problem with Shashi? Now, what I understand, the problem is that Shashi basically said, and he said that in his interview to me also, that Trump is making crazy claims. We don't need to take Trump seriously. We know that the military action swung this in favor of India, and Pakistan's DGMO called our DGMO. This is what Shashi has been saying. This is now established by independent experts like Tom Cooper, for example, or John Spencer. It's not just Shashi. The Congress now comes across as having a problem with this moment of extreme sentiment, a sentiment behind the Indian state in response to Pakistan.
Thank you. So let's begin with what Shashi is saying, and this is true. The fact of the matter was, Barkha, because you've covered conflicts, what happened on the night of May 6th going on to the early morning May 7th, in the history of Air Force warfare has not happened, because there were 2 sides. India with 4.5 generation planes, the best of Western and Russian technology versus the best of Chinese technology, planes face to face in a dogfight for an hour and a half, and within 30 seconds, 24 missiles hit precision and destroyed 9 targets. In the history of Air Force warfare in recent history, that's unheard of. And it was brilliant. And we came back without a single casualty. That is kudos to our Air Force. What's hurt Pakistan more is when we hit their Noor Khan Air Base, which is the pride of Pakistan Air Force. Look, the Pakistan Army may rule, but the Air Force is supreme, right? It's what keeps Pakistan afloat. When we could hit at will there, Pakistan was scared. And that's when Shashi is right. 335, that call from DGMO Pakistan, came to DGMO India. Yes, President Trump has spoiled the party for India. And in Parliament, we can discuss that. But let there be no doubt, Pakistan made the first move. Could we have done things differently diplomatically? Yes. And therefore, in opposition, I think it is my duty when things calm down, when the operations wind down, when it pipes down, we can have a mature discussion, not as a face-to-face confrontation with the government, but as a manthan to see what else can come out so India can do better the next time in each aspect. Ultimately, what India's been doing from 1948 vis-a-vis Pakistan to 2025 is upping the ante, lowering the tolerance level, and there is a thought of consistent policy that India has had vis-a-vis Pakistan. And therefore, that only comes out to discussion, not a confrontation. What the Congress seems to be doing, or some members of the Congress who are in the left liberal or extremely left or influenced by what we call the intellectuals, but they are not, seems to look confrontationalist. And politically also, it's not the right moment to do it.
But you didn't respond to Tavleen. That could Jairam say this if Priyanka and Rahul didn't give him the space to say it?
I don't think Rahul and Rahulji or Priyanka ji have asked the concerned gentleman to do it, but arrogance reigns supreme. One is Barkha. I believe that you should always talk to your people privately. You don't talk to them publicly and snub them off. Second, it's not just snubbing off. It's the way the snubbing off is done, the body language, etc., showing the other person to be somebody who's not important. When he's won 4 Lok Sabha elections, there is a phrase that the Prime Minister had used in Parliament and I'd used on your podcast, and I'm going to repeat it. Aapke पैरों के नीचे जमीन नहीं है, खुदा की कसम आपको यकीन नहीं है. That's the problem, Barkha. There is another gentleman I'd referred to, Duggal Saab, again, one of these left intellectuals. One day he's a Kisan Neta, one day RTI activist, one day climate activist, one day political party activist, one day wine and cheese social worker, one day political party boss. 3 days ago, he was External Affairs Ministry expert. And he said, oh, you know what, we didn't get our BSF Jawan back. Almost celebrating. I'm so glad the Jawans come back. He put that video out. There is another lawyer who I tweeted to who likes to go to Supreme Court, and nothing wrong in going to Supreme Court, who was actually, the tweet appeared celebrating that our birds got a hit. You see, the country is very angry with this. We don't want this. And these people are unfortunately not a part of the Congress getting associated with the Congress. Now, I agree with what Rahul said. I am the Congress. I am as nationalist. I am a centrist. I am the tent that goes both ways. I don't want the rowdy right. I don't want the loony left. But the loony left looks upon people like me or Dr. Tharoor as if we are some kind of trash. They look down upon us. The arrogance with which they talk to us, the finger waving, the putting the mic, the chest out when they talk to us, it is humiliating. Jabki, I think we bring a lot more than a lot of the other people do. He's talking about Kerala. One of the aspirants from Kerala is a gentleman who stays in Delhi, whose mass base in Delhi is for Karyakartas in Delhi who tell him how great he is. And we know what his passions are and where his passions lie. He aspires to be the chief minister of Kerala. Last time he screwed up the elections for Congress in Kerala. And he calls the shot in Kerala.
Are you talking about
He calls the shots more in the Congress than the Gandhis call. Everybody knows that. So the and we know what his interests are. So the point is the Congress has to also understand that while these people may have certain amount of they may bring certain amount of things to the table, they're causing more harm.
Okay.
That visual of that Mike Barkha hurt every patriotic Indian. Dr. Tharoor represented India well.
Yeah, I agree. And Mike, and I would say 3 opposition leaders stood out in this moment: Shashi, Manish Tiwari, and Asaduddin Owaisi. You have to acknowledge the role of all 3 who buried their political differences with the ruling party and spoke as Indians and said, this is not the time for any other argument, right? I want to, before I bring in Tavleen and Rahul, I think there are legitimate questions to discuss. What the hell is Trump up to? But now even the New York Times and Washington Post today have grudgingly conceded that satellite images show that the Indian Air Force was able to inflict devastating damage on air bases in Pakistan. Tom Cooper, who's one of the world's foremost aviation experts on our platform, said that it is his assessment that an entrance to a nuclear facility in Pakistan was hit, even though India says it was not on the list of targets and it was game over for Pakistan. But meanwhile, Trump is at it. Before I come to Tavleen and Rahul on how the opposition should handle this and raise questions if they have any around it, let's play out Trump's latest crazy statement.
And we have Apple, as you know, is coming in. And I had a little problem with Tim Cook yesterday. I said to him, Tim, you're my friend. I treated you very good. You're coming in with $500 billion, but now I hear you're building all over India. I don't want you building in India. You can build in India if you want, to take care of India, because India is one of the highest tariff nations in the world. It's very hard to sell into India. And they've offered us a deal where basically they're willing to literally charge us no tariff. So we go from the highest tariff, you couldn't do business in India. We're not even a top 30 in India because the tariff is so high, to a point where they have actually told us, I assume you too, Scott, you were working on that also, that there will be no tariff, right? Would you say that's a difference? They're the highest, and now they're saying no tariff. But I said to Tim, Tim, look, we've treated you really good. We put up with all the plants that you built in China for years. Now you got to build us. We're not interested in you building in India. India can take care of themselves. They're doing very well. We want you to build here, and they.
It is important, Tavleen, before I bring you in, to say that the MEA has categorically denied that any conversation that took place in relation to Operation Sindoor linked trade to it. It is also important to say that 4 days ago, we did not have access to all the satellite imagery, the videos, the detailed information that has now come out from the military briefings. Even newspapers that don't have a good thing to say about India are now saying, look, Pakistan was not able to inflict serious damage in India. India was on Pakistan. So yes, we can all be gobsmacked by Trump, but I do not understand why that's a reason for the Congress to shout at or about Shashi Tharoor. Your take, Tavleen.
When it comes to Trump, I don't think that South Asia is a priority for him. You know, for a start, he, like the Congress party, seems to have no clear foreign policy. And he has no historical understanding of this region, which is why he keeps talking rubbish about, for thousands of years we've been fighting over Kashmir and all that. Nobody even told him that thousands of years ago, I don't think Islam came to India. Or Islam is what, 1500? But anyway, what I'm trying to say to you is ignore Trump. He's going to take credit. He said before he became president that he was going to stop the wars. Remember that. He went on about how in the first 24 hours, I'm going to get the Ukrainians and the Russians, etc., to stop. And then he said that he would do the same with the Middle East. Without that happening, he wanted to jump in and do this. But it's very embarrassing for India when the major opposition party seems in a peculiar way to be supporting that crazy talk and supporting Pakistan. I mean, what are they? What is their stand? What is their policy? And by the way, let's not talk about Jairam Ramesh as left-wing, Tehseen. He's not left-wing. And two, don't say that these people have the ability to talk without the permission of the family. They don't. You know that. I mean, maybe you can't say it because you want to stay in the Congress party, but the Congress party is a family firm. And there are 3 major directors on the board. Everyone else is an employee.
Yeah. Before Rahul comes in, Tehseen, you want to quickly respond to that? I think it's a fair question. You've ducked it a couple of times. But since you're not Hina Rabani Khar, I was being kinder to you. But now I'm not going to let you duck it a third time. It's a fair, direct question from Tavleen, right? You are not addressing the leadership. You are talking about everybody in the Congress, but the leadership.
No, I am absolutely talking about the leadership. And I do believe Sri Rahul Gandhi ji, who I believe is the boss of the Congress, despite Kharge ji being the president, because he is the most popular leader of the Congress, must have a policy of the Congress and set the narrative. And that narrative should be what the old narrative of the Congress is, the original Hindu nationalist party. There is no doubt in my mind about it. And minions who speak out of turn, or people otherwise who speak out of turn, should be pulled up, and no one should be allowed to humiliate a 4 times MP or anyone else in public. I am extremely clear about it. So that ball stops, or that buck stops absolutely with Sri Rahul Gandhi ji. I'm not ducking it. And just for the record, Tavleen, I'm not a member of the party only because I love my independence, where I can come on Barkha's show as and when I want, rather than bowing down to the people you see, or who are arrogant and being 50th in line with them. I prefer to be my own man. But let me address two things that I would like to bring up here. Yes, we now know that India's military success and Air Force success in particular against Pakistan was spectacular. That got the ball rolling, and that got Pakistan worried. We absolutely know that. We also know we've called out Pakistan's nuclear bluff. That's been meat trade. But let's address the Trump issue. Yes, Trump wants a victory because today we saw that Putin did not turn up. The war did not stop in 24 hours. He asked Hamas to release all terrorists. They released 3. So Trump wanted something to take home. That does not mean that the United States of America mediated. Sure enough, obviously they were speaking to the two leaders, Jay Shankar and Ishak Dar. Maybe they were speaking at other ends to even other people, Marco Rubio, etc. And they may be conveying messages. That is very different from mediation. And I think that the grand old party, the party I vote for, must be articulate in its conversations with the government, because a mediation is very different from carrying messages across and trying to say, okay, this is what he says, and he will answer your call. They will answer your call if you say this. So that is completely different. Should Trump have tweeted? No. But can we control Trump? No, we can't. We have to make it extremely clear that talks and terror don't go hand in hand. Our relationship with Pakistan is strictly bilateral, and that is the consensus of the nation, irrespective of its side. As long as that is clear, we don't care who says what outside of India.
I couldn't agree with you more, which is why this should have been a non-issue and not an issue to reprimand Shashi Tharoor publicly on. Tavleen's interjection, and then Rahul. Tavleen? Hang on, I can't hear Tavleen.
Please remember that Pakistan asked America to intervene
after
Kargil, and asked American intervention. It's asked it more than once. I can't remember the second time.
Yeah.
But the Americans have always the Pakistanis have gone to America. And I think it's, for instance, the IMF loan, it wouldn't have gone through if America had wanted to sanction Pakistan in any way. So, Pakistan has a weird relationship with the Americans that, that allows this kind of thing. We have
Rahul, and then Tehseen. Rahul, just okay. Once Rahul, okay, Rahul. I don't know what Tehseen is saying, but Rahul first. Yeah, Rahul.
Yeah. Barkha, two submissions. See, Congress during independence times was majorly a center-right Hindu-dominated party. Mahatma Gandhi balanced it with both Sardar Patel and Nehruji in a very nice way. And when Jinnah was growing, he even made Maulana Abul Kalam Azad the president of Congress. See, this is the rainbow coalition that Congress really represented. But unfortunately, Congress has gone to the only left, and they started alienating the Hindu right, which was predominantly with them. See, a person like Pranab Kumar Mukherjee was politically intelligent to include both. He even went to Hedgewarji's, Smriti Mandapam, and said the great son of India. So they were having that political intelligence or inclusive, mindset, whatever you want to call it. They had that. Unfortunately, that's lacking in Congress. And Shashi Tharoor is a person who can bring that back. And just one thing in a lighter note: in Bard of Blood, the web series, Imran Hashmi was told by a local writer that Hindus and Muslims are fighting for the past 2,000 years. And Imran Hashmi tells him Islam is only 1,500 years old. So that's what we should tell Trump. People like Trump and the extreme right, they have a tendency to oversimplify and overglorify things. See, just one more point. See, Kerala model, or Kerala's one good thing is we have that nationalistic secular harmony. You can call it patriotic, you can call it pluralistic, whatever term you want to call it. We still celebrate that. That model is ideally represented by Shashi Tharoor. That should be the model for the entire India. That should be the template for India. Rather than alienating Shashi Tharoor, they should put Shashi Tharoor, like Tehseen Bhai told, Shashi Tharoor should be opening, and Shashi Tharoor should be questioning on the security labs. Shashi Tharoor should be questioning on so many other things. Shashi Tharoor will have the moral upper hand to question the government of these kind of things.
Absolutely right. Okay, last comments now. Tehseen, Tavleen. Tehseen, go ahead.
On a lighter note, when Tavleen describes Pakistan's relationship with America, it reminds me of those abusive relationships where one couple can't do without the other. The other couple
Yeah.
still continues to be toxic and abusive, but
Yeah.
the other couple forgives and let the
Yeah.
relationship continue because you can't get out of it. So you accept that reality as well. And Tavleen is right. You remember you covered Kargil, Barkha. India actually leaked the tapes where General Musharraf was talking to his deputy general, saying, "Don't inform the prime minister." India put that out as evidence, and then Bill Clinton stepped in and sort of gave a nudge to Pakistan. So again, I'm saying talking to two nations isn't the same as mediation. Mediation is a very different language and a very different lexicon, and no prime minister, even somebody as popular as Prime Minister Modi or Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in the past, would not have politically survived a mediation of any other nation between India and Pakistan. That is written in stone. Not even Prime Minister Modi, if he gets 500 plus MPs and full majority in Rajya Sabha, and all Indian states can change that. That won't happen. So that has to be articulated. There's just one more thing. I think for the sake of the Congress, and I really want the Congress, I'm now told that they want to do some sort of a protest on what happened. I think this may not be the right moment. I don't know if this is true or no, but they are doing some campaign. My advice to them would be go out, celebrate India's success, bring it up, and in conversations in Parliament with gravitas, with decency, have a conversation, not a confrontation. In tough times, we all should be one. If you confront, if your language is confrontational with the Prime Minister or the Home Minister, they will wipe you. They will wipe you because nationalism is their strong point. So even politically doesn't make sense. That's my submission to them. I hope they don't take me as an enemy.
Have you been facing some trolling from Congress supporters? A lot, right?
I did from a lot of people who are friends of mine, particularly on a clip of mine that was praising you and Ranveer and was asking why aren't more Indian stars sort of speaking up, whereas all Pakistani stars are speaking up. But it was in a different context that I was saying how Pakistan's ahead in the misinformation warfare, and people were coming and speaking up to me as if I'm some sort of a right-wing fanatic who wants to suddenly massacre minorities, where I am a minority and the most minority. So I don't get that how people don't understand this. Living in their privilege, they don't see the sentiment.
It's crazy. Tavleen, last word to you. I think what should be obvious is that right wing and left wing is irrelevant right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it is just nonsense. This is not right wing and left wing. Oh, are you a Singhi? Are you a Congressi? Who cares? Your country, I mean, our country is at near war, was at near war. I can say to you that on the day I was in Jammu and drones were coming in at night, flying over my head, I wake up in the morning, I see the debris of an intercepted drone land on a lady's house, on a temple, inside the home of a village. This was war. And who cares left wing, right wing? You're Indian. And that's all that matters. And that's all that should matter. And how can this basic principle not be obvious to the Congress party right now?
Because they're not looking. Because if they did, they would notice that the real achievement for India in this war is that we've proved that Pakistan is jihad central, that it's a terrorist state, that it's a rogue state. We may not have proved anything else. We may have lost some planes. We may not have won the war technically, but we have won. Really, despite our, as Tehseen says, we have the worst messaging in the world. We really don't know how to use our soft power, and we have huge soft power. But what we have managed to prove is that there were terrorist bases in Pakistan, and we hit them.
Absolutely.
And Congress should celebrate with the rest of the country.
And Shashi Tharoor was being part of that soft power that was actually carrying that message. Tehseen, do I see your hand go up?
Yeah.
I would like to give a constructive suggestion to the government, because again, from the opposition, and this is somewhere where you left off, Barkha, that look, in the border areas, we don't want a new normal, because Pakistan's aim is to cut India with to bleed India with 1,000 cuts. These drones coming in, even if they are without ammunition and they're drones to probe, we will have to follow the protocol. Lights will go off, lanes will be diverted. That's a bankrupt nation. We can't have people in Ambala going off or people in Amritsar going off. So when we negotiate, these are the suggestions I would expect my opposition to put to the government, that these should now be cast in stone, because every time a drone comes, you'll have to follow the protocol. So these are things that we'll have to now discuss as a nation, come up with a policy, and this is where Parliament will play a very important role. If we are confrontationalist with the government, that won't suffice and that won't work.
Okay.
And Barkha, one quick interjection. Without displeasing Rahul Gandhi or with the consent of the Congress party, if Modi ji can take an innovative step of using and leveraging Shashi Tharoor on an international platform, that would be great. There has been instances before where Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji was leveraged in such a way. So if Shashi Tharoor ji can be used by Narendra Modi ji in a positive way without displeasing Congress, I know their party structure, that would be great.
I think Tavleen's trying to come in. Tavleen?
He'll be sacked, Rahul. What's wrong with you? He'll be sacked the day that he does that.
But it's happened before. Vajpayee did it.
Yes, I know, but the Congress party is now a very diminished party without that big heart, without anything.
I think the irony is that Shashi Tharoor represents the best of soft power. He represents actually an alternate vision, which is socially, he calls himself a liberal, and on national security, he is center-right in the way that I think most Indians feel today. Let's be socially united and let's not take nonsense from Pakistan on national security. It is common sense. I just don't know what's up with the Congress party. We leave it there. Tehseen Poonawala, Rahul Eashwar, and Tavleen Singh. Thank you. And to all of you, see you soon.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.